What is up, everybody? Aaron the dog back with another breakdown live from Los Angeles. The pool is not open yet. I'm up a little bit early with the Pacific time from the East Coast. So no poolside breakdown today, but live from my room. So congratulations. This is a very sacred space. Not many people get to be in. So you're here for the Bellator breakdown today. As always, usually I should say, I'm here with Norton MMA, Lewis of Norton MMA, but because of the time change and everything like that, unfortunately was unable to do it. Just getting something pulled up here, but yeah, we got an early breakdown here, and we're gonna get it done. Gonna be at Universal Studios today, as well as the Comedy Store. So might as well get our money set up ahead of time, but hope everybody's doing well out there. Good morning or whatever time it is, wherever you're at. But Thamaris, good to see you. How are you, Thamaris? Great to see you. Yeah, we had a great UFC breakdown yesterday, poolside. I was able to do it solo, and yeah, it came out pretty well, so it's on the channel right now. Won't be any time codes this week, just a heads up. But we're going to go ahead and jump in here. We got 11 fights to break down live from Unkinsville, Connecticut. I believe that's basically Bellator City at this point. They've had like so many events there. So for whatever reason, and Bunny herself, Boston Comments, will be live at the event, 2 MMA events in 1 month for her. No big deal, just, doing her damn thing. So be on the lookout for her tomorrow, and it's all good. Thamaris, I kind of went last second, so no worries there. I was just making sure to get these out with the vacation. So without any further ado, we're going to jump into this 11-fight card headlined by Sergio Pettis versus Kyoji Horiguchi for the Bantamweight title. Manuel Sanchez facing Jeremy Kennedy in the co-main event. Very good card. We've had a couple fights fall out. The one that I particularly was sad about was J.J. Wilson against Alfie Davis. I thought that had complete potential for a huge fight, and I hope they are able to match those guys up soon. But anyways, we're going to get into this. Start at 170. Awesome fight. Awesome couple fights to start out the card. This fight is incredible at 170 to me. Kyle Kreutzmer, taking on Oliver Enkamp, former UFC competitor. And Enkamp here is 10-2 out of Stockholm, Sweden. 30 years old, 6 foot, 77-inch reach. Pancrase Gym in Sweden is where he fights out of, taking on the Oklahoma State Wrestling former wrestler in Kyle Kreutzmer, 7-1, 28.5 years old, 5'9", 68-inch reach. It's a pretty classic wrestler versus striker matchup here, as they call it. Oliver Enkamp, as I said, 10-2 for the 30-year-old. He's definitely found himself since leaving the UFC. 3 straight wins in 2 shots in the UFC, and just lost the decision to Nordine Taleb at all. Very solid. Roberts knocked out. We've seen Danny Roberts get many big wins. So was caught after that, came back with Bellator, ended up getting a rear naked choke, and then a spinning back fist finish of a 17-5 Lewis Long. Lewis Footlong, I believe is his name, and he's been very on a very good run himself. And then Emmanuel Dawa, Japanese necktie. So definitely is showing a good amount of well-roundedness here. Enkamp is and has more submissions than knockouts in his career, but I often see that he uses his kind of Taekwondo style striking, and as you can see, a spinning back fist finish, 3 straight first round finishes as well, 4 of his last 4 wins all coming by first round finish here. So very dangerous and capable wherever the fight goes. Having the guillotine chokes and the neckties definitely could be a potential defense for the wrestler here in Kreutzmer out of Oklahoma State. 28 years old, won his last fight out, 7-1, lost to Cameron Lachinov Basically, that guy is the guy who just walked forward with his hands down and was screaming at Kruchmer. Kind of showed a little bit of the holes in the potential gas for Kruchmer, but what up, Indigo Ginzo? Good to see you. And then came back against Levon Chokali, who was 9-0 at the time. Took him to a decision. Actually had the better gas of the two. Was able to survive the early kind of strikes from Levon, who we'll talk about soon. I think it might take a little more than just surviving round one with Enkamp. I think this is a very, very tough matchup for Kruchmer here. I think that the experience of Enkamp, his level of abilities, both on the ground and particularly on the feet, I think he can expose Kruchmer. I think Kruchmer still has a decently valued name. So looking at the odds here, I would expect him to be a favorite. Kruchmer is the -135 favorite, so +105 on Oliver Enkamp. I'm on the dog here to start out the day. Give me Oliver Enkamp. And I'm going to say Oliver Enkamp wins in round number 3. So let's go with the dog to start out the night, or, start out our morning here, I should say. And I got Oliver Enkamp. Very, very excited to see this one, though. So it should be a really good way to start out the card. And then we're going to move on to a catchweight bout, which not always my favorite thing in the world, but if it's Spike Carlisle, I make an exception. I'm a Spike Carlisle fan. I really like him quite a bit. I will say that first and foremost. Taking on Dan Moret, so battle of two outcasts from the UFC, and have found kind of their footing in the Bellator circle, I guess you can call it. Spike Carlisle, only 28 and a half years old still. Fighting on a training lab in San Diego, California. 5'8", 71-inch reach. Will have a 1.5 reach disadvantage against the 6-foot-tall Dan Moret. So much taller, but the reach not appearing to be an issue. Dan Moret, 35 years old, out of Minnesota, Fight Ready MMA. We're seeing a lot of them lately. 15-6 versus 12-3. Good experience for both guys. The Hitman, Dan Moret. Always found the nickname a little bit ironic, but 2 straight wins. Did knock out Anton Kuvian with UAE Warriors at the end of the second round, and got a split decision in his Bellator debut against Koichi Yamauchi. So very good short notice step up there back in April. Just grinded out the win, kind of out-scrambled him, outmaneuvered him. Had Mandel Nallo originally set up for this fight, then Ricardo Sexias. Both had to withdraw for different reasons, and now Spike Carlisle coming in on short notice. Therefore, we have the catchweight. With the UFC, the losses came to Gilbert Burns. No shame there. Went to the second round. Alex White, not great. And then Jared Gordon, very good. But Alex White loss, definitely a little bit troubling here. But Dan Moret, he's tough. He's gritty. We've seen in LFA, he's gotten finishes in the third round. He's eked out some split decisions at times. Has good guillotine chokes, good triangle chokes. It's kind of funny he's called the Hitman because he doesn't tend to get knockouts, and his striking isn't all that impressive to me. So it's kind of an ironic nickname. And then Mr. Spike Carlisle, as Visceral calls him, Goat Carlisle, correct. 12-3 here. Look at this champ, just surrounded by good vibes all the time. This dude's a savage. 5'8", 71-inch reach now. He was fighting at 145 at one point. I don't know how he did it. Came back and beat J.J. Ambrose with Cage Warriors in October of this year. Big win for him. He was a slight underdog in that fight and looked really good. Kept the gas going through the first 2 rounds, so it wasn't a first-round finish by any means, but for that, Gil Gerardo, don't know who that is, but armbar finish of him in June of this year. Batsum Burrell, Davor George got the rear naked choke back in March. So he's fought 3 times in 2021, 3 wins, going for win number 4. With Moret, I mean, he is going to kind of have to rely on pushing the pace early on and hope that has, I think, the effect that maybe at other times in Spike's career it's had. To me, I'm seeing Spike improving this aspect of his game, being able to keep the velocity going through 2 rounds with JJ Ambrose, a guy with 42 fights on his record, fighting another very experienced guy in Moret here. But I like me some Spike Carlisle, and I got to go with him here. I think that he has found a home in Bellator. Bellator is going to be very happy to have him. This is a very close fight. You know, I get it. The odds are slightly with Spike -120, -110 on Moret. Essentially a pick 'em here. I like the momentum that Spike's got going here. So going to lean towards Spike Carlisle, the Alpha Ginger, and move on to the third fight here on the card. All right, and that is at 155, 3-0, Justin Maltavo taking on Jacob Bone, 10-7 for Jacob, 32 years old. He is 5'9", 72-inch reach, taking on the 25-year-old New Yorker in Maltavo, Oblongo Weidman MMA, Bering Jiu-Jitsu in New York for Bone. So we got New York on New York here. Definitely going to add a little extra heat to this one, I'm sure. Jacob Bone, Jaguar, 10-7, 32 years old, as I said here. Lost his last fight out with at Premier FC. It was an exhibition bout. I believe it was only a 1-round bout as well. It was 1 5-minute. So he lost in the tournament championship in a 1-round fight, essentially. Before that, had won 3 straight after facing Joe Selecki. Won a decision with Joe Selecki back in 2019. Ended up winning 3 straight there. Dan Dublek, an 8-3 opponent with Reality Fighting. He was able to take a decision. Otherwise, not a whole lot of notable wins on the record. Had a loss to Sean Soriano, Alex Morgan, Shane Burgos. He's been knocked out quite a few times as well. Was finished by a rear naked choke by Pat Sabatini. So, you know, I mean, he has a win over 8-1 James Jenkins, though. Definitely has played spoiler on occasion, but mostly the high-level opponents beat him. The not-so-high don't. But Justin Maltavo, only 3-0, still very unproven with Weidman, Sarah Longo. But 25 years old, getting better, has great boxing, great hands, for sure. Kind of reminds me of a young Shane Burgos in a lot of ways. Knockout, 3 straight knockouts. One of the troubles was went back and watched the Charlie Radke fight, 3-2. Charlie Radke was able to get him down through the first 2 rounds. He was able to return to his feet at the end of the second round and get the KO. And he has 2 second-round KOs and 1 first-round KO, but he has faced 0-0, 3-2, and 0-0. You know, with Charlie Radke, he was accepting the takedowns. He was kind of laughing and very confident on the ground that he could get up, and when he got up, it would work out. But I mean, you're going from 3-2, 0-0, and 0-0 to a 10-7 opponent. I get 10-7 is quite salty, but you look at the level of opponents Bone's been facing and where he's going to be looking to take this fight. Bone's going to be looking to take this fight to the ground, and you know, really test the MMA. The overall MMA game of the boxer in Justin Maltavo. Justin can knock out anybody, and John Bone has been knocked out multiple times. There's going to be some heat in this one for sure. I'm going to lean towards Maltavo, but not one that I will be betting. It's currently not available on my book, but I have a feeling Maltavo will be a pretty heavy favorite. And if it's too heavy, I might have to take a shot on the dog and bond, triple the, or 6 times the experience, 3-2, 0-0, and 0-0. And with the 3-2 fighter, he did accept the takedowns. So, in Bone, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, going to be looking to get it to the ground. Parlay piece. I would say no. I would not say Maltavo, but I'll have to see the price. But anything over, I think it's going to be over -250. Anything over -2 for me, I would not. And then, yeah, we got the ginger. Don't worry. We definitely got the ginger. But, yeah, I'm going to lean towards Justin Maltavo. I think he ends up getting the KO again. But I did not like what I saw with regards to his reactions to being on the ground. He kind of accepted it, and very young in his career. So, you know, he's got a good future here, but it might be a little too soon. We'll definitely see Bone 32, a lot of experience here, been in there with a ton of very high quality guys too. So I'll be interested to see that one quite a bit. But for me, it's just going to be a pass. Most likely, I don't have the numbers available. The odds are not available as of now, though. Next fight here is another, like the way this card is starting out is pretty outstanding to me. We got a 185 matchup here between Vinicius De Jesus and Levan Chokheli, I should say. Thank you, Bunny. Enjoy this card that I'm breaking you down tomorrow live. Very excited for you. 2 MMA cards in 1 month for the boss. But we got Georgia against Brazil here. 25 years old for Levan Chokheli. 6 foot 173 inch reach here. He has fought at 170, I should say. He's now moving up. So taking on the 5'10", 73 inch reach of boxer MMA product, 31-year-old Vinicius De Jesus, the Brazilian bad boy. Going to break down Levan first here. It's pretty obvious. Minus 230. Okay. It's teetering, man. I guess you can, if you want to parlay Montalvo at minus 230, you can. Just tread lightly with Montalvo. That's what I'll say. And absolutely, you're welcome, Bunny. Happy to celebrate you and your successes. Always. That's what we do. But Levan, 25 years old, moving up from 170, lost his last fight out to Kyle Kruchmer, I should say, which I guess after that he kind of decided these weight cuts are draining me too much and I don't have the gas. Before that, you look and it's round 1, 54 seconds, round 1, 7 seconds, round 1, 22 seconds, round 1, 31 seconds, round 1, 17 seconds, round 1, 3 minutes, round 1, 4 minutes. Tell me if you notice the trend. Round 1, 25 seconds, round 1, 57 seconds, 2 57-second finishes. How about that? Yeah, again. And then we start getting outside of the first round for Levan. And the first fight outside of it against Conrad Dreischka goes to a no contest in the third round, 10-1 opponent. Then gets signed with Bellator, takes on Kyle Kruchmer, who was 6-1 coming off of that loss to Cameron. And Kyle was the one who was able to expose the gas tank on his opponent. That was kind of what many thought would happen to Kyle. But Levan moving up now. He's clearly a striker. Clearly has power, has not faced a high level of competition. As the level of competition has risen, he's started to falter here. Vinicius De Jesus, 9-4. Not many fighters have faced a higher level of competition with Bellator. 9-4, very deceptive when you kind of look at who he's lost to. Losing to Jaleel Willis and Austin Vanderford, and by decision in those. Those are 2 of the best welterweights in the world. Chris Lozano, he was able to put away by knockout with CES. Good win there. Beat Jeremiah Wells, who's now with the UFC. Vinicius, I think, could easily be with the UFC. Had a split loss to Joaquin Buckley with Bellator. Extremely close fight in 2017. Win over Tim Karen, who was on the Contender Series. Vinicius has tested himself over and over again and been doing some grappling tournaments, which I like to see. Definitely trying to round out his game. Good leg kicks, good wrestling, good grappling. I'm taking the overall MMA product here in Vinicius De Jesus. He's got to avoid the bombs in round 1 of Levan. After that, Levan has just not shown me that he has much more than the first round KO power. And until I see otherwise, the 185 debut here against a very experienced Vinicius De Jesus as well. 9-4, but you got to look at that record. He's losing to top quality opponents. I'd rather have an opponent lose to top quality guys and learn from them. I think that's what's happened here. I think De Jesus is a very valuable piece here. Minus 130, I think, is a great price. I think people see Levan, they see Georgia. Georgia's very hot right now, and they don't really look into the performances. They don't look into the weight, moving up in weight here I don't think he's going to be a particularly large 185er. And Vinicius, the leg kicks will keep him at distance. I think the jiu-jitsu could be a difference. Once he gets into the second round, Levon definitely has, a tough task ahead of him. The split with Buckley was such a good fight too. I highly recommend going back and watching that fight with Bellator. Really good fight. I love the price, -130 on Vinicius de Jesus. You don't got to even parlay it, but you can parlay it as well, but bet it straight up. That is a great price, and it should be, I think it should be much higher myself. So, we'll move on here. Good fight, though. The first 4 fights, all just bangers. And you know what? Let's keep it going because the 5th fight, also a banger. This is one of the best Bellator cards of the year, top to bottom. And it's ended with a tremendous bantamweight title fight that we'll get to, but man, what a fight that's going to be. But next fight here, Mike Hamill, a guy that if you're familiar with me, I love me some Mike Hamill. It all started back with LFA when he took on Bruno Souza, who's now with the UFC. And that fight, he beat the brakes off Bruno Souza for 3 rounds, wrestling, ground and pound, everything. Got a DQ in that one, so that's one of his 5 losses. And we'll get to a few of the other ones as well. But 29 years old for Mike Hamill, now fighting at 155, which I like for sure. 5'9", 68-inch reach MMA lab, taking on Kyoji Horiguchi, the Brazilian, now fighting out Connecticut, 31 years old, fighting out Teixeira MMA and Fitness. So Glover will be in the corner for this fight. Glover's really becoming a great coach. You love to see it as he's still champ. 5'11", 71-inch reach, so 3-inch reach advantage here for Achilles, who is moving down from 170. So very interesting, though. 12-2 losses last fight out back in November of last year, 2020, with Bellator. Lost to Derek Anderson, got knocked out by a head kick. Clean knocked out. That was at 170. He's now moving down to lightweight. A little bit concerning here. He's been a 170er his last 3. I believe he fought at lightweight back in 2018 with LFA. He beat Bobby Lee there, choked him out. So very good win. Moved up to 170 when after losing to Austin Hubbard, actually, with LFA for the title back in 2018. Moved up to 170. Got an impressive finish of Mandel Nalo. We see how good Mandel Nalo is. That's no joke there. And then Derek Anderson knocking him out by the head kick. It was a very good fight back and forth. I'm a little bit curious as I guess he kind of seemed undersized for 170, but I'm kind of curious to see how he's able to make this cut, and definitely coming up against a tough test in his first fight at 155 in Mike Hamill, a guy who is going to cost him quite a bit of gas in this fight. So I'm very curious how the gas translates to the additional 15 pounds of weight cut. I mean, he's going from having to weigh at 171 to 156. It's a significant cut. This isn't 10 pounds. And it's against a guy who's going to look to push the pace and push the gas. And I just think that Mike Hamill it's tough. He's 8-5. So obviously it's like, oh, well, what are we going to do here? Won his last fight out very impressively over Bryce Logan, a guy who usually leads to splits, very close. It was a very clear unanimous decision. Went to a decision with Usam Nurmagomedov. We've seen how good he is. Split with Adam Borics. I mean, and then the legal blow loss to Bruno Souza. It's like, I'm telling you, those couple fights go a different way, and he's definitely one of these guys on the upswing here. I mean, I think that he's never taken an easy fight his entire career. I mean, like, you're looking at the records, and since maybe early on, like the first few fights. So after his first 5 fights, we've got Tohinho Gavinho, very good Brazilian, knocked him out. Jordan Winsky, we've seen with Bellator, also very good fighter, armbar finish. So he's losing to some good fighters. Then beat an 8-1 fighter, beat Bruno Souza, but got DQ'd allegedly. Took on Fabio Serraro, took him out very clearly. And then split with Adam Borik's decision against Usam Nurmagomedov. Very, very tough guy. He's not going to quit on you. And yeah, I mean, Mike is a perfect gatekeeper. He's an absolute gatekeeper. And I don't think that Achilles gets through this gate. I think Mike Hamill beats him. I think he uses his wrestling and pressures him. I don't like Achilles cutting down to 155 necessarily here, but we'll see. Achilles has not been active in over a year either. And yeah, Mike Hamill, while he's not going to win every fight, he's going to fight for your money. That's why I bet him against Logan in a fight I thought was close. I thought he was going to be able to kind of persevere there. I think this is another one that's very close. But yeah, I like me some Mike Hamill. So minus 120 on Mike Hamill. Give me that price all day. I totally get this being close, but I do think that Mike Hamill is the proper favorite. So give him minus 120, put him with the Jesus, and have yourself a day. Or do them straight up separate as well, obviously. But should be a great fight for those two. We're seriously 5 for 5 at the beginning of this card. This is unbelievable. And we're going to keep it going here. We got our sixth fight, also great. Kai Kamaka III taking on John DeJesus. This is just another fantastic fight. John DeJesus, so much fun to watch. Not always fun to bet on because, man, he does some crazy shit inside the cage. But the dude is another guy who he doesn't take easy fights, and as a result, 14-9 record. So you get kind of scared by that, but he's only 31 years old. The 5'9", 76-inch reach, beautiful frame for the featherweight division here, and he uses it. Taking on the 5'7", 69-inch reach in Kai Kamaka. And Kai Kamaka really does show that lack of reach at times. So that right there, huge difference for me. And oh yeah, I haven't trusted Kamaka since that either. Kai Kamaka, I don't want to be rude, but it does seem like he is kind of not the prospect we were promised. And so, we'll see. But right now, fighting out 808 Fight Factory for Kai Kamaka versus the Academy Pittsburgh for Mr. DeJesus Platano, taking on Fighting Hawaiian. I'll break down DeJesus a little bit. We'll go into this 14-9 Lowry salty record a little bit here. The featherweight with the 76-inch reach, it's a fantastic advantage when it's working for him. Had a close fight with John Teixeira. John Teixeira, a guy with a 23-5-2 record, really close back and forth. And in it, when he was able to keep the range, keep the movement going, it was the difference. And that is, again, the difference in this fight. It's the distance, and it's the movement of DeJesus. When he doesn't allow himself to get backed up to the cage, he's very, very effective. At times, he allows himself to be controlled. That is what Kai is going to look to do here. And I think that this is a really good opportunity for Kai to get back on the right track. Obviously, Aaron Pico, there's no shame in losing there, but what he was doing, he wasn't able to use his reach. It used the movement, got backed up to the cage, and leaves that chin exposed. Before that, beating Vladislav Paruchenko, seeing one opponent in a fight in which he was, I think, plus 450 underdog. I remember I bet on DeJesus tonight. And yeah, DeJesus is Dominican, and it goes to show, I believe, in Kamaka, especially since there's not a lot of Dominican fighters. Right on, Mystic. I didn't know you were Dominican, but right on, man. My best friend, Abe Sabarin, is also Dominican. So you're in good company here. But you look at some of the John DeJesus, he's taking on Pat Sabatini, Bill Algeo. It's like Danny Chavez. Aaron Phillips. Like he really has tested himself throughout his career. He doesn't say no to fights, and he's very, very active. 2018, 3 times. 2019, 3 times. 2020, 3 times. 2021, he's only fought once. So he's definitely looking to get back in there. Was originally supposed to be taking on another Hawaiian and Keani Diggs, so Kai is coming in on short notice. I think, which should be kind of highlighted here. my boy Sabatini, he won me some moolah the last couple fights. 8-4-1 for Kai Kamaka here. Still only 26 years old. Might have just gotten to the UFC a little bit too soon. 2 straight losses, 5'7", 69-inch reach. So again, 76-inch versus 69-inch reach. Split loss to TJ Brown, a draw against Danny Chavez, and the loss to Pierce. Definitely went through a little bit of a tough stretch there. But it kind of goes before that, too. His debut against Tony Kelly. Tony Kelly took the fight on short notice up a weight class. And that's where I started to see some red flags with Kai. I started to see a little bit of he kind of gets into a mode where he boxes, pushes against the cage, tries to wrestle, boxes, and it wears him down and takes away from his effectiveness. The Michael Stack fight, even with LFA, he got kind of pushed and started to have some issues. We've seen him with Bellator before. He was 2-0 with Bellator in his first go around, but got very easy level of competition. With John DeJesus, I do think that Kai Kamaka should have the strength advantage, should be able to get him to the cage and, put him down, and keep him down. But it's not one I'm super eager to bet. I'm going to take Kai Kamaka here by decision, but I don't think the price is too accurate at -210 for Kai Kamaka, +160 for DeJesus. For me, it's a dog or pass bet, but I am going to take Kai Kamaka on my personal picks here. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I think DeJesus can show up and beat anybody on their best night, but I think Kai Kamaka's got a very good plan here coming in, working with his fellow Hawaiians, and I do believe he's staying ready for this fight. So good test for him, and if he wins this, it's a very legitimate win. I just think getting to UFC too early can make a lot of doubters out of people who don't quite understand what that pressure and what getting there too soon just really for an opponent. So I'm going to give Kai Kamaka this one. Was really giving Danny Chavez all he can handle in that last fight as well, and then a bunch of weird shit happened with point deductions. So yeah, let's go Kai Kamaka. -210 though, a little bit too pricey for me in a fight that could potentially be very, very close. But we're gonna see I think a reinvigorated, refocused Kai Kamaka. So I'm gonna move on to the next fight here. This is probably the first fight on the card that I feel is a little bit not that great of a matchup, I guess I'll say. Alexander Ashabali taking on Bobby King, not Bobby King Green. It's very hard to find Bobby King MMA footage on YouTube. You type in Bobby King, and it's going to MMA, and it's going to give you Bobby King Green fights, which is great. I love Bobby King Green. I love watching Bobby King Green fights, but does not help too much. Yeah, this is actually real quick. No female fighters on this card. And overall, Bellator, if I got to say one thing, the way that you handle the female divisions is asinine. It is the worst aspect of your organization. You do not give them the shine. You do not build up the divisions. You don't seem to really care about the opponents that you're picking for a lot of these fighters. So, and then you're not like every MMA card at this point should have at least one female fight on it. It's like kind of inexcusable if you're a major organization. So, but Bellator doesn't seem to care about that. They seem to care about Valerie Laredo, and that's it. Everybody else doesn't exist. Is Valerie Laredo ranked again, by the way? Because I know she was ranked after she lost to Hannah Guy. So, and they don't even give Hannah Guy another fight. Hannah Guy has to go and fight with bare knuckle fucking fighting against Taylor Starling and get murdered because she couldn't get an MMA fight with the organization where she took away their darling. So Bellator women MMA is a joke. That is all. Alexander Shabley taking on Bobby King here. Russia against Utah. Bobby King is 37, nearly 38 years old, 10-3 here. Coming off of a very entertaining fight in his first fight. Definitely doesn't look 37. 4 straight wins for him too. 1 in June of this year. 5'9", 70-inch reach here. Took a split over Nick Newell. I don't think that was a split personally. And he did it's very difficult to fight Nick Newell. And then like I don't know. It's just he did what he had to do in that fight. He was in a lot of very strange grappling positions. Yeah, I know it's not minus 400. I do not rely on Tapology odds ever because minus 1,000 for Alexander Shevely here is crazy to me. Bobby King, he looked good. Got an armbar finish of Steven Seiler in the 4th round back in February of this year. He's gotten a few finishes with his punches, but primarily as a grappler and mostly a finisher. Doesn't go to a decision a whole lot. Weston Wilson, a good decision win with LFA as well. Definitely has earned his way into Bellator here. He doesn't have a whole lot of weaknesses from what I've seen. I think he keeps it going, keeps the pressure going forward, has been knocked out twice in his career, so possibly some issues with his defense and chin at points. But Alexander Shevely, the Russian here, 20-3, 28 years old, 5 straight wins. Last fought in May of this year, beating Alfie Davis. That was such a good fight, though, and actually a fight I did have Alfie Davis in, I remember. And, I thought Shevely looked okay, but, I wasn't, blown away by what I saw in that fight. But he is very, very solid. Before that, fought with Fight Night Global, ACB. He's facing good level of competition. He was able to beat Adriano Martins, but pretty inactive. 2018, 1 fight. 2019, 1 fight. No fights in 2020. 1 fight so far in 2021. Went to a decision there. Alfie Davis, very good. Then, it's he's fighting back in 2016 against guys like Ryan Quinn, who's now retired, and not a whole lot of notable names on this record. The losses are by split decision, rear naked choke, and another split. So he could very well be 30-1 at this point. Bobby King, I think will make this fight tougher than a lot of people think. But I think Alexander Shevely is just younger, better, more well-rounded at this point. 28 years old. He's entering that primity prime. 38 years old for Bobby King. Fought close against Nick Newell. Doesn't exactly give me a ton of hope. But I'm going to go with Alexander Shevely and not bet $1 on this. Alexander Shevely is a minus 1,100 favorite on my book now. Bet $1,100 to win $100 on Shevely here against Bobby King, who's on 4-fight win streak and looking, very, very motivated, very well conditioned. Plus 600. Probably going to take a little stab on Bobby King, sprinkle it, and just go for it. I think the over 2.5 rounds. I don't hate either at minus 150. Those are my two moves there. Take what you will. I just think that's, maybe not the best of matchups here. It is the featured prelim. Kind of weird how they organize it sometimes. We're on to the main card here, and I really, this is another interesting fight for me. But Johnny Eblen taking on Colin Huckbody. This is really good grappling matchup here, grappler wrestling affair here. Colin Huckbody from the Contender Series out of St. Cloud, Minnesota, 10-3, 6'3", 76-inch reach, taking on the 29, nearly 30-year-old Johnny Eblen, diamond hands, out of Baton Raton, Florida, 6'1", 74-inch reach out of ATT. We got MMA Lab against ATT here. I'll be breaking down young Colin Huckbody first here. Pretty one-dimensional. He wants to get you down into arm triangle position and get an arm triangle on you. That is just kind of his jam. 10-3, won his last fight out back in June 31st of this year. Beat Nick Krause by decision. Before that, lost to Aaron Jeffrey with CFFC by decision. No shame there. Very, very good fight there. Beat Aaron Phillips by KO. which was good. It kind of showed he wasn't just a one-trick pony with regards to the arm triangle, so that was very impressive. That was back in December of 2020. Fought twice so far in 2021 as well. This is going to be his third fight in 2021. But you see arm triangle, arm triangle, arm triangle. That's how he got on the Contender Series, was the arm triangle. It's kind of interesting because, he won in a minute 28 on the Contender Series and did not get a contract. So kind of surprising there. Losses to JP St. Louis as well as Bevon Lewis. Both of those guys, no shame there. Decision against Bevon and got guillotine choked by the veteran in St. Louis. Only loss by finishing his career, taking on 9-0 Johnny Eblen. Very, very good potential prospect here. 29 years old, 6'1", 74-inch reach, originally out of Kansas City, wrestled at the University of Mizzou, now at ATT. He's looked like pretty much a wrestling kind of machine so far in his Bellator career. Chauncey Foxworth, not a great win. The Taylor Johnson win, very impressive to me, against a fellow very, very good grappler. Showed the striking against Daniel Madrid, getting that left hook and hammer fist finish, and then came back against Travis Davis in July to cruise to a decision there. The guy is improving his hands, but he's really shown the wrestling is pretty impossible to stop. He seems to be one of the better wrestlers in the 185 division. I'd love to see him move up, eventually and take on a Vandeford type of opponent as he moves up here. But yeah, I mean, he was facing a boxer his last time out. And yeah, he just manhandled him. I think Huck Body's going to put up a little more of a fight here. I really do like MMA Lab quite a bit. I like to have a few fighters on this card, and I think this is a really good matchup. It's close. I think it ends up looking similar to Taylor Johnson against Johnny Eblen, where Johnny's just a little bit better of a grappler, just has a little bit more of a well-rounded game. Colin Huckbody doesn't exactly have the striking, I think, that's going to be needed in this fight to beat a guy in Johnny Eblen. And the wrestling, I think, will be close. Definitely could be a lot of scrambles. Huckbody gets on top. It could be very interesting. But I'm going to go with Eblen here. I think this is a really close fight, though. And I'm seeing Johnny Eblen at minus 1,800, plus 825 on Colin Huckbody. I'm not betting a dime on that. That's crazy odds. I don't understand that completely. Johnny Eblen, very good, but Colin Huckbody is not a complete scrub here. And plus 825, that is being treated like a complete scrub. This is the highest odds for Johnny Eblen so far in Bellator, and I'm a little confused by that. So I'll take Johnny Eblen. This is dogger pass for the odds, though. The odds are way off here. I don't care if he wins. That's pretty crazy odds. So might have to gamble on a couple of these smaller dogs here, or larger dogs, I should say. But next fight here, 135. Very, very, very good. Very close matchup. Very interested to see how Jared Scoggins finally looks coming back here, taking on the veteran of all veterans here, veteran savvy, Josh Hill. I love Josh Hill. I've been a huge fan of him for a long time. And Jared Scoggins, respect him as well. 10-1 versus 20-4. Canada taking on USA, Spartansburg, South Carolina, to be specific. 26 years old for Jared Scoggins. 5'7", 69.5-inch reach. Fought his last fight at 125. He's moving up the bantamweight here, known as Psycho. We know his brother Jason Scoggins. So these guys, pretty both good taekwondo practitioners, both very strong, good strikers. Little he started out with issues, but then went on to have decisions in his next 8. Beat Cody Durden along the way, Juan Puerta, Kenny Porter, and Thomas Vasquez. So decent level of opponent, but hasn't fought since September of 2020. He's been dealing with a few injuries, I believe. He had kind of unfortunate with Toby missing weight. Scoggins had to withdraw from his Magomedov fight. and then was going to take on Brian Moore and tested positive for COVID. So tested positive for COVID in July. It's now December. Plenty of time, I think, has passed for him to recover. But Josh Hill, 20-4 here. He's just kept it kind of rolling. Did lose his last fight out in May. It was a fantastic fight against Rafion Stotts. Really close. And Rafion Stotts is, in my opinion, the best 135er, in outside of the two fighting for the title. So, and he will be fighting next for the title, in my opinion. So I'm really excited to see Rafion Stotts get back in there, but going to decision with him, no shame there. 4 wins prior to that. Jesse Arnett, Canadian legend, he was able to stop. That's a huge win. Vinicius Zani, good win with Bellator, as well as Eric Perez, former UFC fighter Goyito, Eric Perez. So another very good win there. He really looks to, kind of push the pace everywhere it goes. Good grappler. He's not going to, allow you to take the fight to him. Showed in the Magomedov fight with Bekyu Bulat back in World Series of Fighting. Great fight you can watch, split decision, but pushing the pace is why he's came out on the positive end of a lot of these split decisions. You will see quite a few on the record. Just faced great level of competition throughout the second half of his career too. Did get knocked out by Marlon Moraes back in 2016. No shame there. But yeah, just a good, solid veteran here. And I think that it's going to significantly matter the 2 fights in 2020, the fight in 2021. The activity and the comfort within Bellator, I think, is going to be on Josh Hill's side. I like the gentleman Josh Hill to get this one done and get it done by decision. I think Jared Scoggins is absolutely a tough competitor and going to be tough to put away. But I think Josh Hill will just kind of keep a pace that is going to be tough for Jared Scoggins to come back from. He is moving up in weight, so I'll be interested to see how the 135 division works for him as well. Give me Josh Hill by decision. Josh Hill is a minus 115 against the minus 115 of Scoggins. This is a pick 'em. They're expected to be very close. Many Josh Hill fights are. I think the Scoggins name is keeping this one a little bit closer than it should be. I like Hill. Play him straight up at the pick 'em price. Josh Hill by decision for me. And gonna move on to the co-main event. Oh boy, this is such a good co-main event. Emmanuel Sanchez taking on Jeremy Kennedy. This fight is outstanding. This is my fight of the night. Featherweight co-main event here. Jeremy JBC Kennedy, 29 years old now, 5'11", 71-inch reach, fighting out of, Extreme Couture, XC, and cornered by Eddie Bracco for this fight, taking on Emmanuel Sanchez El Matador, 31 years old, 5'9", 70-inch reach, fighting off Rufus Sport MMA. So 2 good camps here. Rufus Sport kind of not what it once was, but still, I still rate the camp very, very well. Jeremy Kennedy, I'll be breaking down first. Second straight Canadian in a matchup here out of Surrey, British Columbia, now fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, obviously with Extreme Couture. Lost his last fight out to Adam Borix. Really good, close fight there. And, Adam Borix, one of the better 145ers in the world. I got no shame, no hate there. Before that, had a really impressive, complete kind of decision win of Matt Bissett. Just overwhelmed him. Really, really took him out. He did lose to Daniel Pineda with PFL. That was on the sauce. Other than that, ground and pound finish and a decision in his last 4 here. Took a grappling bout with submission underground and was choked out in overtime. So I don't have any problems there. I like to see guys staying active in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu outside of the fights. I think it's a good way to keep the momentum going. Win or loss, and Edwin Najimi, very good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. Manuel Sanchez El Matador, this guy's just such a beast. He lost his last 2, however, 5'9", 70-inch reach for the Rufus Sport Academy representative. Those losses coming to very good opponents in Patricio Pitbull by guillotine. We've seen how strong he is. And then Mads Burrell. Went to a decision with him. It's very impressive. Mads has been kind of on another level lately since coming back to Bellator from being cut from the UFC. 2 fights in 2021, 2 losses. Prior to that, had a win against Daniel Weichel, a finish of Taiwan Claxton, and a win over Georgi Kakarian. So very good wins there. Losses got his last 3 losses have been to Patricio Pitbull twice, and then Mads Burrell. So as a loss against Pat Curran, Daniel Weichel. I mean, he loses to really only the highest level of opponents, even a 7 Luis Gonzalez. Level of experience here, beat guys like Henry Corrales, Justin Lawrence, did beat Daniel Pineda as well. So just very good level of experience. This is one that I'm having a tough time getting a complete read on. I think it's going to be a really good matchup. I think it's going to be very close. I do think that Emmanuel Sanchez is still very, very focused on being a contender in this division. And I think that this is a really good matchup. I think it's very close. I just think that Matador is going to be a little bit too slow to get to certain positions. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get Kennedy down and then turns into a stand-up bout. And I think Kennedy has a significant advantage on the feet. I think that the speed advantage needs to be with Sanchez, and he needs to really be staying on his bike and working this fight to get to the ground. I do think that that's where Jeremy Kennedy still has significant weaknesses, and where you can exploit them. Emmanuel is able to exploit a lot of his opponents. This is tough. This is a tough matchup. I'm going to lean ever so slightly towards El Matador, Emmanuel Sanchez. I think this is going to be a very, very close fight. And I think that the Matador is going to be able to live up to his nickname a little bit and kind of lead the dance, so to speak, against Kennedy. But these odds are kind of surprising to me. I was expecting to see another -115 type of line here. -205 on Emmanuel Sanchez, plus 155 on Jeremy Kennedy. I'm pretty surprised by those odds. I'm not going to be betting Sanchez at this price. He's my pick, but yeah, that price is pretty steep for, I think, a fight that is very, very close. So it's interesting kind of seeing some of these lines as we go through here. But such is life. I don't really have a dog in this race. I really like both guys. Jeremy Kennedy is tremendous, and I've really enjoyed watching him. And Emmanuel Sanchez, I got no hate for him either, and I think he still believes he can beat Patricio Pitbull. So gotta love, don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. But with that said, we're at the main event, and then I am off to Universal Studios Hollywood for a day of being a grown-up, and then followed by the Comedy Store tonight. Just trying to live my best LA life here while I'm here. So we're at the main event, and this is for the Bantamweight title. I agree, Mystic Sosa. Pretty tough card for sure. Keep the parlays light this week between the UFC and Bellator. It's just, we gotta tread carefully. I just think that it's a tricky week of betting. Keep them small. Do a lot of singles. Work some props that you like. Don't get too fancy here. But this one, Sergio Pettis versus Kyoji Horiguchi. Oh my God, I can't wait for this fight. This is one of my favorite matchups of the year here. 21-5 Sergio Pettis, bantamweight champion. Still fighting now Rufus Sport MMA, so they're doing something right, that's for sure. And they got a guy in the co and main event, so be interesting for Rufus if he's able to be in both corners. Because often you'll kind of see, like Trevor Whitman had his fighters fight separately so he could be in the corners, but if he's going back to back or what, I don't know. That's definitely a factor to consider again with Emmanuel Sanchez, because he's going to be in the corner of champion Pettis here, taking on the 29-3 Japanese product out of ATT Coconut Creek, 31-year-old Kyoji Horiguchi. I'll be breaking him down first. What Why this guy ever was released from the UFC, I'll never understand. 29-3 now for him. Won his last fight out. Karate style practitioner beat Kai Asakura with Ryzen. Knocked him out clean. Round one. Very good win there for Kyoji. Avenged the loss to Asakura from the year before. So he has a loss against Asakura. He had one loss in the UFC, and it was to Demetrius Johnson on a 5th round armbar. After that, he went on to win 3 straight with the UFC, including a win over Ali Bagutinov, and went on to go to Ryzen. Took on tons of good talent over in Ryzen as well. Beat Manal Kopp, Isha Watari, 25-6 opponent. Ian McCall, 17-3 opponent. Darren Caldwell, he choked out with Ryzen. Ben Nguyen knocked out. Ben Nguyen beat Darren Caldwell in Bellator as well. Showed he can do it both sides. This guy is just so good. He does not have any weaknesses. He's been knocked out a couple times, so that is something you can potentially point to. I mean, he even faced Tenshin Nasukawa with Ryzen. I mean, the guy is a savage. He was knocked out once and armbarred once, so I mean, very tough to finish. And it was, it's 2 of the best in the world that did those to him. Sergio Pettis, though, is one of the best in the world. And after the last fight, people cannot deny that now. I don't know how they could before, but 21-5, 28 years old for the Rufus Sport. Sergio Pettis, 4 straight wins for him. He's on a roll. Beat Ricky Bandejas before fighting for the title, where he beat Juan Archuleta in a 5-round just clinic, absolute clinic. Was able to drag Juan into deep water. He chose not to resign. Yeah, the UFC, that would make more sense, I would assume, but and the UFC definitely wishes they could have him back. They're seeing him with Bellator now, and and so with Sergio, it's like you've seen the last couple decisions, 5-round decision against Juan Archuleta, where he was just looking really, really good in the fight. I do think he could have pushed for the finish, but he's fighting very mature, very composed for such a young fighter here, and I don't find that to be a bad thing at all. Got the guillotine choke of Alfred Kasakian, a very good striker there, and did what he needed to do, get to the ground, showing that jiu-jitsu is there. Tough. He had a tough run with the UFC, but let's go back and look at who he fought in the UFC. So he starts out with that, obviously, some not great fights like Will Campazano, but he beats him, and it's like he loses to Caceres. These are all when he was 21, 22 years old. The loss against Ryan Benoit and getting knocked out and then humped by him, obviously that was tough. But rebounded with 4 straight wins, including a win over now champion Brandon Moreno. I believe that got Brandon Moreno cut from the UFC. Lost by decision to Henry Cejudo, beat Joseph Benavidez, lost to Jussier Formiga and Rob Font, both by decision. I mean, we've seen how Rob Font was, and Rob Font is an absolute dangerous opponent, and to go to a decision with him is no joke. The whole press conference was incredible, and you had that first row seat there, first of many for Bunny there. But the win over Tyson Nam with UFC, didn't get re-signed after that. I think it was a mistake by the UFC. Bellator has been able to enjoy it. He's 3 straight wins there. Yeah, it's the 1 finish. This is such a tough matchup, though. Kyoji Horiguchi may be the best 135er in the world. I think whoever wins this fight can start talking about that. And I said in the world, I'm including Peter Yan. I'm including everybody. Put Kyoji Horiguchi or Sergio Pettis against anybody in these divisions. I think that Sergio has really benefited from the move up to 135. He could have pushed the pace for the finish in his last fight, but he was cruising a decision, and fighting smart is the most important thing. But he's fighting a fellow very, very smart fighter in Kyoji Horiguchi. This I mean, this one to me, I have trouble picking either side to finish this one. I just think they're both so good, both defensively and offensively. I think it's so close. Like, it's just so close. It's a 5-round fight here. I'm leaning ever so slightly towards Kyoji Horiguchi. We've got just a lot of tape on Kyoji Horiguchi to watch, and he has just not faced poor level of competition. While Sergio has also faced a very good level of competition, especially in the last couple. I just think that with Juan Archuleta, his conditioning seemed to be a serious issue. I know he cuts a lot of weight, and over the 5 rounds, it just kind of got exposed a little bit there. And I don't think that same route quite works here with Kyoji. And Kyoji just, I think there's going to be a lot of scrambles. I think there's going to be a lot of closely contested spots on the feet. I think that both guys are going to, get takedowns at different points. This is a fantastically matched up fight. The odds are -185 for Kyoji, +140 for Pettis. Actually, just moved towards Pettis a little bit more. He was +145 when I started the breakdown. So a little bit of money came in on Pettis. Mystic thinks Sergio's title reign is up. I got burned hard in the last Pettis fight. I don't think he's that good, but Horiguchi stalls a lot. I think both guys at points, you could say, kind of stall, I guess, or are methodical, you could say. But yeah, this is just a incredibly awesome card, top to bottom here. It just really just at least snuck up on me once I really looked into it all, how, top to bottom, there's maybe 1 or 2 not great matchups. The rest of them are really great, including this one. Sergio wins this, and he takes an ascent into another level with regards to, I think, how we need to view him. If he wins this one, all the SureDog articles from 5-6 years ago that we all read about Sergio Pettis, they all start to come true. And it's kind of similar. It reminds me similar to Aaron Pico, where the mistakes had to happen early on, and they happened in a spotlight in front of everybody, and they caused people to kind of count Pico out. And now look at Pico. And Sergio Pettis, maybe a similar type of thing is happening here with him, where you kind of hold him to there was no chance that was going to be a robbery, you guys. You don't want that blood money. How dare you? But yeah, I do like Horiguchi here. Good fight. Real quick, I'll go through the card top to bottom. I got quite a few dogs on this card. Kyle Crutchmer versus Oliver Enkamp. Give me Oliver Enkamp. The underdog, Spike Carlisle, Dan Moret. I got Spike Carlisle. Justin Maltavo, Jacob Bone. Justin Maltavo, but not super confident there. Vinicius de Jesus versus Levon Chokili. Vinicius de Jesus, I love him as a slight -130. Mike Hamill, Achilles Monta. Mike Hamill for me. Kai Kamaka versus John de Jesus. I'm going with Kai Kamaka. Alexander Shubley versus Bobby King. I'm going to be betting Bobby King because those odds are stupid, but I got Shubley, I guess. Johnny Eblin, Colin Huckbody, another one, crazy odds, but I got Johnny Eblin. Josh Hill, Jared Scoggins. Josh Hill for me in the pick'em fight. Manuel Sanchez versus Jeremy Kennedy. I'm going to lean towards Manuel Sanchez here. And then Sergio Pettis, Kyoji Horiguchi. Kyoji Horiguchi is my pick. And then, I get it. We all get robbed at points, but yeah, that's going to do it for the Bellator breakdown. Going to do my best tomorrow morning to do the LFA breakdown. I'm not going to have time the rest of the day today. Getting ready to take off for Universal, and then meeting up with, I'm going to be being a tourist today. So going to try to get on either late tonight, maybe when I come back from the Comedy Store. Maybe I'll just pop on for the LFA, or tomorrow morning for an LFA breakdown. There is an LFA Friday as well as Bellator Friday, double screen MMA Friday for all y'all. And then Saturday is the UFC, a UFC breakdown on the channel right now, poolside breakdown. If you want to see me glare at the screen and hardly be able to see it while dealing with the beauty that is LA weather. But I want to thank everybody for joining me. We had double-digit viewers this morning. That really means a lot to me. I guess it's afternoon over there, where you are. But Bunny, appreciate you popping in when you're so busy. Congratulations on the virtual press conference yesterday. So proud of you. Enjoy the fights tomorrow, Bunny. She will be there live and in person. Thanks, Visceral, for joining. Armchair, thank you, Mystic Sosa, Damaris, Bunny, first, of course, Bunny, top of the line. We know that. And yeah, just thank you all for joining me. Enjoy the return of MMA tomorrow. We've all been missing it for the last week or so, and it's back, baby. So enjoy the fights. Good luck on your bets, and I will see you guys probably tomorrow morning with the LFA breakdown, or when I see you next. Keep taking care of each other out there. Peace out. Oops, I wasn't on the end. Peace out. I got hit it.